Big Hyjak.
Mr. Gordon.
How's it going?
It's Gordon.
Yeah, good. We're back.
See what I did there?
I saw that. That's kind of cool. So, I guess we can go ahead and kick to the intro right about now.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Welcome everybody to the Big Fat Podcast. I am DKG72.
I am the one and only DJ Hyjak.
And on today's show, we've got another special guest with us. Now this dude I've been rocking with since 06 when I first saw his animation. He was one of the first guys on YouTube putting up animation. What's that? Dread Society X.
Yeah. That was wild.
So saw that and then got a chance to meet him at a Heroes Con, and we've been cool ever since. And then this brother dropped an atomic bomb a couple years ago, a web comic called Bounce, which detailed the seemingly horrible life of a New York bouncer. But it's not that horrible, but it did touch on a lot of subjects and a lot of things. And to talk about it today is our special guest, Mr. Chuck Collins.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
That right there, that was the crowd.
Okay.
We're kind of a ratchet operation, so we don't have a crowd yet. But when we do get one,
it will be well paid.
Right.
Okay. All right. Cool. So you put the applaud sign on top. You know.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. It's like build up in front of a live studio audience. You know, like back in the day. You know.
Exactly. So, Mr. Collins, how's it going, sir?
Oh, I'm good, man. I cannot complain. You know what? I'm lying. I'm not good. Have you seen The World?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, it's enough to make you stress every morning. Every morning I wake up, man, I'm afraid to go on Twitter or on Facebook because I'm afraid I'm gonna see some stuff. Is it cool? Can I curse in this podcast?
Man, you curse us.
Oh, good.
We're good to go. We're
all right.
Like I said, we're a pretty ratchet operation, so you know.
Okay, good. I'm glad because you know that there's some old bullshit going on in these social media streets. I don't know what's happening with people these days. Every morning I wake up, I'm like, what am I going to deal with? And or other mornings, I just ignore it altogether and just listen to either a podcast or listen to my favorite music station on Spotify and just draw and drink coffee and whiskey. That's all.
There's nothing wrong with it. Well, it's kind of early for whiskey. Kind of like an all-day drink. So
it's 5 o'clock somewhere in the world. That's what I go by.
Looking like a true bouncer, sir.
There we go.
So we're gonna get to bounce, but first give our few listeners that are out there that may not know who you are, or well, actually a few listeners that we have, just kind of give them your backstory, your spiel as it is.
Oh man, okay. The origin story. The origin story goes. Obviously, my name is Chuck Collins, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I was a animator in New York City for about maybe, I would say 8 to 10 years. I worked for pretty much every animation studio. Well, not everyone, but most of the major ones here in New York, like Ogden Blick Studios, Animation Collective when it was still up and running, some freelance over at Nickelodeon. Yeah, a couple other places. But so after doing that, you know how things get. You get laid off. You don't know what to do. During that time when I was animating, though, I used to moonlight as a bouncer in the Lower East Side, Manhattan.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I'd be animating during the day, and you know, bouncing at night. And it was the only thing you could do to pay rent, man. You can't rely on one job these days, man. And this was like maybe 12 years ago.
Yeah, and it's gotten worse now.
Oh yeah, I know that. So, you know, it was one of those things, but when I really started doing animation really full time, I had to leave nightlife for a little bit. But when I got laid off, I needed money. and I ain't have time to, there's something about working a 9 to 5 and dealing with people, microaggressions and, overbearing bosses and passive aggressive people that you work with. You really don't want to go back to that if you're a grown ass man. Like you just,
right.
Yeah, it's too much. But, so I dreaded having to go back to, the standard 9 to 5. And so I said, let me just get back into bouncing, called up my boy, had a spot open at this bar that I used to frequent at. And then, rest is history. I just started working there 2 nights a week, turned to 4 nights a week, turned to 6 nights a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, did that for a decent amount of, I think, since 2004 full time. And then I quit the industry about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm retired. I was like, I'm done. There's only but so many people I could kick out of a bar, keep my own sanity. So, but in the process, I did 2 of the properties. One being Dread Society X, like you mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. That was a comic that it was actually an animation back in 2003 that I started creating. And it was pretty much a post-apocalyptic sci-fi drama, if you want to put it in that category. Right. Where the main character, Azakan, realized that he was a highly evolved human and had to live in this world that was ravaged by, nuclear fallout. And there's a colorful cast of characters. And at first I wanted to do it as an animation, but, this is the days before Kickstarter or GoFundMe or, what's the name of that other one? Indiegogo.
Indiegogo, yeah.
And so I didn't really have anybody giving money. So I had to do this all on my own. So I put out 2 animations that I did by myself. The second animation, I had help from a friend of mine, Steve Valdez, that has Echo Bridge Studios out in Florida right now. Right. And so we came together and we did the second one. And I wanted to keep it as an ongoing series, but problem is, man, when you're trying to make something quality and you're the only one doing it, and you've seen the level of animation out there that's quality, man. You got a team of 50 people working on the project. It's like, I'm one man. So I couldn't keep it up. So I turned it into a comic. Took all the stills of the animation and just turned it to a comic and put out the first one. And, it sold a few titles here and there. It wasn't like, it was before the real big black indie comic, craze that's going on right now. This is like on the cusp of like 2006, 2007.
Yeah, you were like a genuine pioneer in that arena, weren't you?
I guess you could say that. I mean, I don't really think about it, but a lot of these people out here, they kind of like it's kind of weird. I go to people always say, "Oh, I know DSX." That was cool. And or people will like this, not even include me in the conversation of that. But it's whatever. I just, at the time, I just wanted to see something put out there that I really wanted to see go mainstream. I wanted to see more black characters being represented on the anime scene. And, eventually, you had the Afro Samurais came out afterwards and you had the Boondocks came out afterwards and they paved the way, which was good because that went totally mainstream. So as a whole, even though the goal was, for myself was to put out that kind of content and try to push that forward, but other people were trying to do the same thing too. And I'm just glad that they got put on because now it's a force to be reckoned with, Right. And that to me is worth more than anything.
Well, that's an origin right there.
And so I mean, I had an opportunity to pitch it to various people. I had taken a trip out to LA, and it was interesting to see how the inner workings of that industry works, like the way everything runs. And
well, yeah, we've seen how that industry runs now. Oh boy.
Man, look, let me tell you, man, the shit that I used to hear versus what I see coming out now, I'm not surprised. But you know more so than anybody that it is not just exclusive to the movie industry. No. This kind of bullshit behavior happens in the very industry that we know and love, which is comics.
Yes, it does.
It happens, and it's starting to spill over into everything. And what we're seeing now is just the veil being pulled away, and we're beginning to see the real people who are beginning to see the real wizard behind the curtain.
Yeah,
You know?
and it's not a pretty sight. It's not
not at all,
it's
man.
not fire in the Wiz. It's something we don't want.
Yeah, at least the Wiz, at least he ain't, he wasn't trying to jerk off into no damn plants.
That is true.
Yeah, or in the comics level, at least he wasn't biting people in the ear and grabbing them by the groin, which is another story that I find totally absurd.
Oh boy.
But yeah, it's it's just what it is. But I mean, I guess we'll get back to that later. But after I went to LA, tried to pitch DSX, and then some people wanted to outwardly just buy the property away from me, like I would have no rights on it. And I couldn't do anything with it, and I'd be goddamn if I turned on the TV one day and Oz is like some white dude played by Matt Damon. I'm like, nah, it's not happening. So
it was definitely going to be Matt Damon.
Exactly.
Looks like Matt Damon.
You couldn't get Ryan Reynolds at least, man. You had to get Matt Damon. So.
You know what? Then they put him in that fake dreadlock wig. They
wig or something. They get some. At least if you go and take away his blackness, at least give it to Jason Momoa. But see, Jason Momoa was big back then.
You know what? And yeah, at least give it to Momoa.
Exactly. At least, man. Shit.
He's too brown.
Oh yeah, he's too brown. But hey, the other guy could have made it. The other brown guy that's a wolf boy.
Which one is that one?
Oh no, that's Jason Momoa. I'm thinking.
What?
No, I forget. He can cut his hair too.
Oh yeah. Or they give it to Jesse Williams if they felt comfortable, but Jesse on his boat trip, so they ain't gonna give it to him.
You don't feel comfortable.
Oh
yeah.
He definitely don't make him feel comfortable.
No. He just I don't know what the hell's going on.
One day Chappelle said that it was special. He said, "Can you come up here on stage and say something for about 5 minutes that'll make white people feel uncomfortable for about 20 days?"
Yes. Yo, that Def Jam joint was off the chain, man. Oh my God.
Oh, I just watched it this morning. I was laughing, but I was like, "Oh, holy shit!"
Dude, I watched it the night it came out because it came on Netflix. I think something like around
it's Netflix.
Yeah,
1 or 2 in the morning, and I was just like, and my girl had already went to sleep, and I was like, I was still up, and I just happened to say, let me just watch some shit to fall asleep to. And then here comes, I'm like, how when you see on Netflix, when something just comes on, you see like the big premiere poster thing, you just pop the trailer on, that's what, I saw the Def Jam 25th anniversary. I was like, oh, I'm watching you right now. Like, I don't care how sleepy I am, you are getting watched right now. But yeah, I mean, I went, tried to pitch it, so I refused to sell it. Came back and just thought about how am I going to make something else work, So and
let me touch on that for a second. When you refused to sell it and you came back to New York, how did you feel after you said, you know what, I turned those people down? What the hell have I done?
Well, I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, you can beat yourself. A lot of people, they go into this whole thing thinking that when I create something, what's the best way to put it? You grow up thinking that things are gonna go a certain way. Right. I create this thing, I hone my talent, somebody's gonna see it and want to work with me and make this thing happen, and it gets turned into a TV show or it gets turned into an animation. If I really work hard, this is gonna happen. That's you skip like 30 steps in between. That's what you're not told when you have that mentality. And a lot of these companies have, contracts already made out, to just either buy things straight from you, own a certain amount of your property, or just, give you like first refusal or last refusal, whatever they have in their contract. They want to control mostly what you have. So for me, a moment of disappointment has struck me because I was like, well, damn, if they like it so much, why don't they just come together with me and then we make this shit happen? But then the other side of me knew that this is just the way capitalism works. Like, I shouldn't be surprised. So when I came back, the way that I thought about it was I should just, look to making something on my own and creating a fan base on my own without having to rely on the credibility of these companies. And lo and behold, that's how Bounce was born. Wow. Yeah. I came back and, I had my head in the sand, like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do next. And, I had an epiphany at work one night and I just wrote a whole bunch of ideas down, went home the next day, didn't even sleep. When I got off of work, at 5:30 in the morning. I got home around 6:30, didn't go to sleep, stayed up, designed a character, made like 3 little comics, posted them. And I said, ain't nobody gonna like this shit. Woke up and it was like 300 likes, 50 something reshares or whatever the case is. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I made some noise. As opposed to before, I put up a DSX drawing and got like 2 people liking it. And I was like, but these days it's like, that was one thing that kept me going. I was like, I guess I must have hit something that, people want to see. The Bounce story is not your typical Black superhero story. In fact, he's not really a superhero. He's just somebody who gets annoyed with stupid people. And so when you got that mixed with a little bit of comedy, I guess it gets relatable to a lot of readers. And I think that was the thing too, like doing DSX, I kind of felt like I fell into this Black superhero trope that I see that's become more of a constant these days. Like, I don't really see much original Black indie stuff. I'm not going to say all, but I don't see a lot of it either. I see the Black version of something. Right. Is either a Black version of X-Men or a Black version of Avengers, or it's and even though some of the things that I see that look kind of cool, the story's a little unique, but I just got tired of the men in tights with their underwear outside their tights trope. I couldn't take it no more. I was just like, I want to be away from this. So in doing Bounce, it gave me the freedom to do something that I've always wanted to do, which was touch on comedy. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't have like a superhero talking about, I'm Captain Black Man coming to save the ghetto from the white man. And yeah, by the way, I tell jokes. Like that's not gonna happen. You can't. It ain't gonna happen. So
I mean, it worked for Meteor Man.
Yeah, Meteor Man.
It worked.
It happened.
It happened. Not necessarily worked.
It was a thing, I mean, but then you also have to take into the consideration and understand the source of Meteor Man was Robert Townsend. Robert Townsend's always been a comedian. So he found a way to fit superheroes into the comedy. He didn't find comedy put into superheroes. Right. The whole aspect of being a superhero worked into the comedy of what he already established for himself. It was just one. Robert Townsend could tell tons of stories that have to do with comedy, but this was just one aspect of the comedy that he's always done, and it worked for that. I never want to see a Meteor Man 2. I never want to see a Meteor Man 3. The one that came out is the only one that should exist, and let it stay the way it is. So,
well, I had Luther Vandross as a killer.
Well, I won't be announcing my new Meteor Man property, so I'll keep that to myself.
Oh, darn it.
Oh, my God.
It wasn't going to work.
Oh, man. Nah, but I think that's what the thing is, like being able to tell, a story and have like some comedic elements into it, and using all the inspiration I got from comedians over the years, like, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Bill Hicks. And I'm like, I could finally tell a story where I could make jokes like those guys, I'm going
to tell you, I knew you had a hit on your hand. First strip, the cokehead strip.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The cokehead strip. And those dudes was tweaking, and your character, the bouncer, was just like, "What the fuck?"
Bruh, listen, man. I could draw that scenario because I've been the bouncer.
I know.
Worked at the bar.
I knew drawing on something. I knew that was real. I knew that was real because of how the joke. Because that joke was it was on the nose, but it was hilarious at the same time.
Oh man, yeah.
It's like that's something that somebody that you see that somebody's like, you know what? The only way I can tell this is as a joke. Right. It's the only way you'll believe it.
That's it. It's either I can illustrate it well enough so people could feel that they were there, or they would just have to be there.
Right.
Just to witness it firsthand, man. There's some instances in that I haven't even done comics for that are just so raw and crazy that I'm like, I look to myself, I'm like, did that really just happen? That's real life. Oh my God. Oh man. But I think that was the reason why Bounced It Out for its own, is because it was telling that kind of story. You know, here you got a dude working at the door. Nobody really ever pays attention to the bouncer. You're just an obstacle for me to get into the bar and start drinking. Why are you asking me for your ID? Like, what my ID? Like, why? Why you getting in the way of my fun? Oh, now I can't come in because I got a hat on, or I can't come in because of this or whatever. And so nobody really thinks about what we think, you know. And I think when I introduced Yamaya, you know, the female bouncer, I think that took on a whole other thing, because I was able to tell the perspective of being in the same scenario, working the door and dealing with all kinds of nonsense as a woman. I mean, I'm not a woman, but you know, knowing knowing enough women bouncers and strong women in my life, I was able to hone into that and you know, make Yamaya's character. But that was, you know, once I did that, that was it. It took a life of its own.
Well, it definitely did. And then you kind of went into, this is where the bounce really kind of became fun for me, because you weren't tied down.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't tie yourself down.
Yeah.
So the storylines went from crazy shit that happened to a bar to a straight comic book style saga.
Right.
And then back to normal crazy shit that happens in the bar. And I was like, my man, you figured out the golden ticket.
That's it. I mean, what I also thought about was how many shows we used to watch growing up that had like all kinds of weird, like one moment it's like everybody's chilling and they're going on little adventures, and the next moment like it's this other scenario, and then everybody goes back to normal. It's like old school 80s sitcoms. They were always like that. So I mean, I just took that and brought it to a whole other level. And also, you know, being such a huge fan of you know, all the old school comic strips. You know, you had like Doonesbury, Calvin and Hobbes, you know, Bloom County, you know, all these joints, man. You know, you'd have all kinds of craziness happening. You have Calvin and Hobbes, dudes fighting aliens on a planet somewhere, and by the end of the strip, he's back home sleeping. I mean, you knew it was all in his imagination, but at the same time, it was like, you took me here. You brought me in this deep adventure on Mars, and now I got to come back to this reality.
Right.
You know, but that's exactly what I wanted to do with Bounce. I'm like, here you have all these characters in this bar. You know, the bar is that sanctuary, and all this other stuff happens on the outside. But once it's done, where else we going to go? We're going to go back to the bar.
Right.
That's where we came from. That's where we're going to go back to. So I think that was one of the things that, you know, I think the first time I deviated away from that whole format was in season 2 when I did the whole Dexter saga, where he was like the dude who tried to take over the bar and like an old rival of the bouncer. And
he had to get the 4 horsemen back.
Yeah, which is actually based in real life. There used to be me and 3 other dudes, which pretty much those dudes, which it was, we all had nicknames for each other, and we all worked in bars within the same block, because that part of Rivington in Lower East Side, they were like, it's like a block. It's like a bar on every block. So within that radius, we all worked, and every night we get together, go to one after hours spot, and we just talk shit, drink, and like compare all the stories we've been through to, yeah, I got to kick this one dude out. Oh, this other dude came in and did this and blah, 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 and all this shit. And we always, but it was like a network. We always had each other's back. So if it was like, if I was dead over at my bar was completely dead, there was nobody in there, then, you know, if another dude called me, I'd go over there like, yo, dude, I got a situation happening here. I think I need backup. So we would have each other's back throughout the whole entire thing. So, you know, I implemented that into the story. And then, you know, you got this dude this villain who just took steroids and started beating everybody up. So, you know, Bouncer and the crew had to get together to take him down. You know, so I think that was the first time I did it. And, you know, it got such a huge reception and I had so much fun doing it. So I said, you know what, let me just start, you know, I'm not going to kill it and keep doing that, but every once in a while I'll do a little adventure, you know, every season, you know, to get everybody like, yo, that's crazy.
No, I thought that was a brilliant idea. And when I saw you juxtapose into that storyline, I was just like,
right,
wow,
yeah,
this is it.
Well, thanks, man, because that was like, it was one of those things. Like, I feel like I needed to scratch an itch because, you know, I made a certain format for Bounce, you know, 4 panels, characters stand the same, but I was like, I need to switch it up a little bit, do some different views, do little things here and there, you know, and plus I was watching a lot of anime too at the time, and I was like, I'm inspired. I need to do some fight scenes. You know, I need to draw somebody getting punched. Like, let's do this. You know, but
so, you were talking about the reception for Bounce. And kind of expound on that. What was the totality of the reception for the strip and beating out your door every day, like when's the new strip and all that type of stuff?
Wow. Well, that's a very good question. I mean, I still don't know what draws people to the comic. I mean, you know, I appreciate all the people who do read it week after week whenever I put it out. But I think the reception has been like up and down. It doesn't really, I've never seen a consistent flow. You know, some weeks I'll put up a comic and nobody will see it and people will be like, oh, that's cool. And then they keep it moving. And other weeks I'll put it up and people will be like, this is the best thing I've seen in my life. And then you're like, oh, cool. You know, and I think because of the theme of it and because it's not, it doesn't speak to a certain narrative of what people expect a Black superhero comic to be, or just a Black comic. It's not, you know, going by gimmicks of doing bullshit stereotypes. You know, I ain't dropping N-bombs left and right. I ain't making it a ratchet comic. You know, even though the Bouncer is born and raised in Brooklyn, but, you know, he'll have the moments like, yo, you need to stop your shit. But I mean, that's just anyone that grew up in any hood, no matter where you from.
Right.
You know? So I think that because it doesn't fit that, you know, like, oh, it's like, you know, a Black Panther type of character or a, you know, I don't even see, that's how long I've been at the comics loop, man. I don't even know what's mainstream no more. I've been out of the loop for so long. But yeah, it's like, it doesn't fit that thing. And I think, you know, some people see it and then they look at the comic and they're like, oh, look, 4 panels with a lot of words. Fuck that. And then they keep it moving. So it's like, I don't necessarily know. I honestly keep doing Bounce because I love it. I love doing it, you know, and I put it out there for other people who love looking at it. And I'm not going to stop, you know, unless I decide one day I wake up and I'm like, you know, I'm tired of this shit. I ain't doing it no more. But I don't see that happening. So as long as I'm still motivated to do it, I'm going to keep doing it. no matter who comes to the table and looks at it. You know, if I get the one person that comes through and appreciates it for what it is, yo, thank you. I appreciate that. If I get 20 people, that's cool. If I get 0 people, that's cool. I could rest with the fact that I made a comic that I liked. You know, but I don't know. I guess I think differently on that whole level of winning. Like, oh yeah, you know, I gotta make a comic. Everybody gonna look at this shit. It's gonna be the next big thing. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Make the shit because you love it, not because you want everybody to like kiss your ass for it. You know, that's just where I come from. No,
you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right, and that's that I don't think that's a bad attitude to have at all. So let's get into the business of Bounce. I know you know you putting your posts in your comics online, and I know you did how many collected editions have you done?
Well, there's one physical one, which is the volume 1, which is first round of shots. That's available for both like a physical copy and a digital download. And volume 2 is collected, but it only has digital for now.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm up to season 4 right now on Bounce. I'm halfway through it. So, you know, I think I should be done with season 4 by, I want to say maybe February is what I'm looking for. I think, yeah, February is probably going to be the last, and then I'm gonna take a little break for about a month or so, get some new stories going on in my head, and start on season 5.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, but I think in between, you know, I'm gonna be doing my best to try and get number 2 in print, so people can order volume 2 and then also volume 3. You know, because it's like I think yeah, each season is its own. Each volume is about maybe 60 to 80 comics per volume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you know that means 60 to 80 pages per volume.
Okay,
and that's pretty much it.
Okay, and where can people like pick up the printed copies, or even go view the comic strip if they haven't seen it?
Oh, they can easily. Okay, here's the deal. As of now, I'm having some problems with my web, my whatever web provider, like the web host dude, whatever they call them. I'm having problems with them because they're horrible. Don't use NetFirms, by the way, people. NetFirms is horrible. Yeah. So the site is temporarily down, but it should be up by next week. But you can go to bouncethecomic.com to the store section and buy it from there. But for now, you can easily go to the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/bouncestrip, and you can order it right from the site right there, right from Facebook. Okay. You can order the volume 1 as a physical copy, and you can order it also as a digital copy as well off of Peep Game Comics. You can get it for digital, and you can order volume 2 on digital on Peep Game and on Gumroad.
Okay.
So that's it, man. That's where you get all the Bounce stuff.
Instagram,
say what?
No Instagram?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll do that right now. Yeah, I usually do that like towards the end, but yeah, I'll give you all of that now. You can take it. It's at bounce_comic on Twitter and Instagram. So you can actually get the digital copy of volume 2 and 1 from Instagram. The link is in the bio, and same thing for Twitter. So you can definitely get both of them from there. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun, man. It's like you basically pull that comic up on your phone, read it whenever you can. My thing is, you know, since I want you to laugh at my jokes, so drink a lot of alcohol and then read it, and then you'll laugh at anything, so I'll feel better about myself. So you could do that.
That's probably one of the best marketing ploys I've ever seen. Drink as much
drink.
you want.
Exactly. And then kick back, read it, and then laugh a lot, and wake up the next morning hungover, forgot what you did, and then curse me out for talking you into buying my book. So
and then all you say is drink some more, it'll be hilarious.
Exactly. Everything is hilarious when you drink. So just do that. But I want you to see my comic when you drink so you can laugh at that. That would be great. You know
what? I like to say that's just brilliant marketing right there.
I don't think so, man. That's horrible. If I gotta promote my comic for you to be drunk,
if I had that would you know what? We need that guy.
No, I say this, man. No, look. It would be amazing if you got drunk and read it, but you can still read it sober if you wanted to. You know, I get a little philosophical a lot of the times on in the comic, and then I make you laugh. Then I got little those little anime moments where you get them feels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can do that too. You know, I've watched enough anime to master that aspect of storytelling. So you can get your feels, your laughter, your philosophy, and you know your current events. You know, sometimes in bounce I get a little political too. So
let's talk about some current events in our lovely industry right now that's going on. And first we're gonna broach a little controversy. There was a I don't know if you've seen this, but I think this article is kind of based out of some things that happened during the New York Comic Con. How was the New York Comic Con for you anyway?
Well, it was cool. I mean, I did some. I didn't have a table or anything. I just went and I was speaking on a couple of panels, and so I didn't get a chance to necessarily, I guess, go out to some of all the places and all the panels that were out there just to go see for myself, just to sit in as a fan. I just mostly in cons, to be quite honest. If I don't have a table, I'm just going around trying to catch up with old friends. It's just it is. I'll stop by a table, say what's up, have a conversation for an hour, and then go about my business and see the rest of the show, see the new things that are coming out. But this one was cool because but I did hear about a lot of controversy that happened, and funny thing is, like, I was actually there and I read about it. Like I didn't see it, but best believe I read about it the next day.
Yeah, it seems diversity is becoming a bad word. It's becoming a bad buzzword in our industry for some reason.
Well, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's become a word that a lot of people have been using as an excuse to, promote bad behavior, in my opinion. That's just the way I see it. People going around saying, oh, here they come with this diversity crap. And you're like, yeah, you just want to continue being an asshole. I get that. Right. You want to do a play on words. You do that shit all day, but I see what you're doing. You ain't fooling me. So I see what's happening with the diversity issue. And to be quite honest, I blame, I don't blame the people who are fighting for it. I blame the companies that actually try to make it a marketing tool. That's what the problem was.
Are you talking about Marvel and DC? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll say it for you. Marvel and DC. Here's the thing.
Yeah, those guys.
Those guys. Here's the thing. I'm free to talk shit about anyone I want to because I want nothing from them. I don't want a job from them. I don't want praise from them. I don't want anything from them. So I will talk shit about them all day I want. It doesn't matter. A lot of people say I can't say certain things because they're listening. Maybe what if they offer me a job? Fuck them. I don't need a job from them.
No. Yeah. Nobody's trying to work.
Yeah, I'll talk shit about them all day. If you don't want me to talk shit about them, then stop fucking up. That's just. Or
as I like to say, your diversity is going to last until the new movie comes out, and then
exactly. Yes. And if you see what's happening right now, I told people this from jump. I said the whole diversity thing in the big two companies is only going to last for a certain amount of time, and watch them bring everybody back. And that's exactly what they did. Last year, they did away with most of those diverse titles. You know, they may have a few characters that have been left over, but they bring in all the stuff back. They bring in the male Thor back. They bring in regular Bruce Banner back. They bring back all the same old school shit. The problem is you have a company that's, you know, their characters are franchise characters that are as old as my grandfather.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can only reboot these characters but so many times. And the main objective to any corporation or business is to gain profit. And especially in an industry like comics, where your main income is coming from fans continuously buying your product, you have to find different ways of telling the story. And you also have to pay attention to trends. Now that we have social media, you pay attention to the latest hashtag. You pay attention to shit like Black Twitter. You pay attention to what other people are saying. And when these hashtags come up, you know, hashtag diversity, hashtag Black comics, hashtag, you know, Indian Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And then they say, oh, this is trending. Look, 256,000 people are trending this right now. Those are our next fans. We need to make a comic based on that. And that's what they did. They're not doing it because one day they woke up and decided, oh, you know what, we should be good people and involve more people of color in our stories. They don't give a fuck about that. They just want to gain profit. It's what they do. So, you know, I mean, people can say anything they want, but at the end of the day, that's the harsh reality of, you know, capitalism.
No, that is true. I mean, you see it in every industry.
Yeah.
And we definitely see it in comics.
Mm-hmm.
As an independent creator, what is our obligation in this? Because again, it's capitalism. So at some point, you got to make money.
Oh, of course.
But creatively, what is our obligation to kind of combat, which is basically the flavor of the week change to whatever that character is going to change to?
I mean, in honesty, don't combat it. Why? What's the point? These businesses are already established. They're going to make money with or without you. You know what I'm saying? They can do tons of changes from in a character, you know, within 10 issues of the comic. If Superman comes out and Superman says, you know, I'm now black, within 10 issues, he's going to go back to being white. Like it's, like it's not, it don't matter. I say, don't combat it. Just make your own shit. Make your own, reach out to the people. You know, if enough fans are out there talking all this shit, we need more black comics, we need more people of color, we need more LGBTQ characters, blah, 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 blah. And you got people out there who are actually making it and you're not supporting them and you ain't about the cause. And in all honesty, as a creator myself, if you want to talk all that shit and you want all that kind of representation, but you keep giving your money to the big two, you're not the fan that I want in the first place. Because you're not about what you're talking about. You've got tons of talented people, from every spectrum of life, every race, every color, every sexuality, any gender, who want to see themselves represented in this industry. You have every aspect of life that are making great work, but you ignore them. And you want these two companies to give you what you want. They're not obligated to you. You keep giving them their money. The ones that actually come out of that and give the money to the indies who are actually doing the work. Because it's not, let's keep things real. The big companies pay attention to stuff that us indies do because we create the trends.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it always is. That's how it's always been. We create the trends, they pick up on it, they maximize on it and make it mainstream.
Right.
You can see that, biggest example of that, hip hop. Okay, like that's exactly what it was. It was a specific music genre that was created by us, that was only sold to us through other people in the hood. That was like, yo, I got this new mixtape, I got this new, you know, DJ set that just came out. This MC just rhymed on it. The shit is hot. It was back in the 70s when people used to do stuff like that. They would sell the cassette tapes here and there. And you fast forward to the late 80s, early 90s, where record companies was like, shit, this is the money we missing out on? Buy it right now. So we set the trends. So if the fans really want to see the change, they need to support that. And if the fans are talking all this stuff and saying that we don't have representation and you're still giving these companies your money, keep doing that and keep complaining. That's just what it is, in my personal opinion. There's, you know, people disagree or whatever, but that's how I think it is.
Well, I can agree with you with that. I mean, look at the noise they make about diversity, but I have not heard any of those same people talk about all the brand new,
Right.
highly well drawn and written minority or books that have come out in the same amount of time.
Right.
Well, and then they act like if it's not at the local comic book shop, they don't know where to.
Well, that's
find
the
it.
other problem that they're in.
Right.
If you're a comic book head, you're usually the real problem. It's the people outside of comics that you actually got to get.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. I think that's where the other aspect of it is too. Like, you have people who think that your stuff needs to be in the comic book store, so you need the direct market. Like, look, if you create your own buzz, I mean, that's the beauty about social media. You create your own buzz, you know how to market it right, man. You don't necessarily need Diamond. You don't need the direct market. You don't need to have your stuff in stores. People will see what you're doing and they'll support. You know what I'm saying? You'll put out one book, you put out a book a month, you know. And also I think the other thing that kills us as indies is consistency, because you got dudes and girls out there who, you know, put out books and they'll put out issue 1 and you don't hear from them for like 3 years. And it's like, and trust me, I talk shit about myself too. I did the same thing when I did DSX. I did 1 issue and the next issue didn't come out for like 5 years. And I made that mistake. That's where the mistake was made. I'm gonna learn from it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And there's some bigger people that are making that mistake right now, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I was just talking with
we were
just talking about DMC.
Yeah.
Issue number 3 just came out, and that issue number 1 came out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember I met him. Well, I already had met him, but I met him at a convention, and he was like, "I got this issue," and then I handed him the issue, Trimax assigned it. He was like, "Yo, give me your signature and everything." I remember that. I was like, "Dang, that was 2014."
Right.
And his third issue just dropped in 2017. I'm like, wow.
Right. Nah, that's crazy, man. Like, and I get it, like, for some other people, because, you know, real life gets in the way. We ain't making enough money from doing just indie. You know, a lot of us got regular jobs, blah, 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 blah.
And that's why I say people need to decide, are they doing it to just get the stories out, or are they doing it to make a living? You know, there's a difference.
There's a difference. And I think,
yeah,
exactly. And I think if you're going to try to make this your living, there's certain sacrifices that you need to take. You know, I mean, you may be working that 9 to 5 every day, but come the weekend, you know, instead of going out to the bar, sit home and enjoy your shit. Instead of, you know, playing that new whatever game that came out on your PS4, enjoy your shit. Instead of, you know, sitting down and binge watching some shit. You know, I ain't gonna talk shit about that because I do that. I binge watch, but I binge watch while I draw. Like, I have 2 computer screens. I will sit there on one screen and draw my shit, and the other one will be playing on the other screen. And I'm more like listening than watching.
Right.
When I'm watching, when I'm drawing, and then some shit happens that's important, I'll be like, oh, hold on a second, let me rewind.
Right.
That was crazy for 5 seconds, and I go back to drawing. It's just, you know, that's how I got through all the series that I watch on Netflix and them, like Expanse and Rick and Morty and all that shit, you know. So, I mean, you could do that. But my point is, if you're going to make it a reality, sit down and do it. I think the other thing that kills a lot of indie folks too is that they're more concerned with internet fame than they are with actually creating a legacy. You know, I mean, you put up a drawing, you get 1,000 likes or reshares or retweets or whatever the case is. That's cool for 3 days. And everybody forgets who the fuck you are after that. Unless you're consistently putting out work. But then again, you're consistently putting out work and you're doing it for free. And then when you put out that work that gets the 10K likes and all that other shit, you know what ends up happening? You're drawing other people's characters. You're drawing the black version of a Marvel character or the black version of an anime character. You're not even drawing your original characters. You know, and I think it's not even so much at the fault of, you know, like most of these artists. I think it's what they've grown to see living in this social media age. Like, you know, in order for me to get recognized, I got to draw these kind of things.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Well, that and I've always, like I say with Gordon all the time, is, are you an artist or are you an enthusiast?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like, you know, I really want to create and put out there, and others like, I just want to be a part of the community.
Right.
And the problem I think with comics is it's way more enthusiasts than
Right.
actual practitioners
Right.
in it. It's kind of like how rap music is now.
Yeah, it's a lot
Of
more.
course.
There's so many people who are doing it just because, well, everybody does it.
So
Right,
I wanna
right.
be a rapper too.
Yeah.
I don't really care about rap.
And
You know,
it's-
just
then
yeah.
there's guys like us that looks forward to, okay, well, I'm gonna draw, do a page today. Okay, once my book is done, okay, I can't wait to slap the book together, and then okay, I got
Right.
proofs back.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't wait to go sell this. I can't wait to talk to people about the book. By the way, I got to also draw like 2 more pages. Like we, you know, I don't know. It's kind of like you're a gluttony for the pain, but you love it. regardless.
Right. I mean, yeah, there is some excitement to that though, man. Like you work hard, you get all your book, your stuff done for your book, and then you put it together. You see it digitally, like put together in the PDF. Like, oh shit, look at all the work I did. Then you send it off, you get your proof back, and you're like, oh my god, I'm holding a physical copy. You know, but that's one of the great rewards you get from creating something that's your own. You know, but it doesn't stop there. And I think for a lot of people, you know, you can tell a lot about the character of the person who does that to see how far they go beyond that point.
Right. And it's a lot of like DJ Hyjak said, there's a lot of enthusiasts where, you know, they may not even get to they may just do the art, and then they're good, and they may just want to just show their portfolio off at the shows. Let me buy a table and show this stuff off at the show. And it's like, well, that's nice, but what else are you doing?
Yeah. Or like I said, or just be honest. If that's all you want to do, that's what you want to do. Don't later complain about not getting sales when you didn't do anything for that.
Right.
Like, you know, one of the things about I also think we get wrong in the industry is not everybody's a creator.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are just workers. And, you know, and it's fine. There are some people who are like, I don't have any ideas, but I draw.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. Look, I always tell.
I think a lot of people, but you got a lot of those people who feel like, well, I got to come up with something. It's like, no, if you don't have ideas, that's fine that you don't have ideas.
Don't do it.
Yeah. I mean, you're good at what you do and you want to work for another company, do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I'm not saying every single artist, let's take up the arms and create our own shit. Look, if you don't feel like creating your own shit, don't. Be the company man. Work for the other people, make their shit look great, and get paid and get your money. That's all good. But for those of us who are out here actually in the trenches doing it, don't half-ass it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Be about it. If you ain't about it, if you're only out here to make noise and say, look, I just did this cool thing and everybody on Facebook likes it, and then nothing comes from it, then I'm sorry, it ain't about shit. Doesn't matter. You know,
and even then I noticed that at least in the artist community, artists have not learned how to leverage that either.
No, they haven't.
You know, I've seen very few artists become influencers. Like
exactly.
You see, like you see every other girl who's pretty go like, wait a minute, I can get people to pay me just to do this.
Right.
The artist who are something really cool and be like, oh well, I can't make any money. It's like, yes, you can. You got thousands.
Right, you got thousands of followers. I was like, all you got to do is go to the whatever local company you got. Hey man, I got all these people.
Reach out to these brands. Get out there.
Exactly.
It's a YouTube trick. I don't understand why comic book artists don't do that, especially web artists. Like, okay, I got 10,000. You know, you got 10,000. You can go to local companies, even some national companies.
Oh yeah,
like,
10,000 is enough.
Hey, man, you know, give me a little money so or sponsor this strip. I got this.
I know Squarespace to give you money.
Squarespace gives everybody.
Squarespace is no joke, man. I'm about to put my next website on Squarespace. Like, I'm gonna get to go to every podcast I listen to that's sponsored by Squarespace and get all the codes and not. I don't think it works that way. I'm gonna try. I would try. Every month I gotta pay and be like, nah, here's the code. Put this shit in. Just do it.
And the other thing, I don't think artists nowadays they understand that sometimes it's good. They don't understand how to barter. Like
No.
sometimes it may not even be trading, getting money or cash. It may be like going to a sports space and be like, "Hey man, can I get the year for free if you sponsor?"
Right.
Like shit, okay. That's cheaper than what we normally give you all. So yeah.
Well, I mean, there's and the thing is, there's a mutual interest there because it's like this company that you're trying to barter with has something that you need, and you're giving them a service that they need. And in the long run, it works out for both. And a lot of people don't see it that way. You know, I mean, there are times where you feel like, look, man, I didn't, hone my skills enough not to work for free. I don't suggest anybody work for free. But if you get involved in a project and you feel in the project and you know it's going to lead you somewhere, I don't see anything wrong with taking that.
No.
No,
it's not. And we don't ever tell anybody to do anything for free if you don't want to. But
sometimes that can benefit you.
And it's not even really free. It's just you're maneuvering yourself.
Or take, for example, like I use acting and actors as an example. I go, Napoleon Dynamite was a huge hit. The guy who played Napoleon Dynamite, I believe he got paid $2,000 to be in that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
$2,000. That movie made millions.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, at the same time, after that happened, he started getting roles and he started being paid millions to be in movies.
Of course.
So it was worth it for him to do that little. It was worth it in the long run. You just got to use proper judgment. Something could be free, but it in the long run will do something good for you. I'll
give you an example. I can talk about only certain parts of this, but I recently helped work on a project on a film that's actually up for a Grammy right now for the 60th Grammy Awards. It's up for Best Musical Film, and I worked with these dudes. The name of the movie is called Sidemen: Long Road to Glory. It's basically about 3 blues musicians who were sidemen, who've worked with some of the greatest musicians and blues musicians that you've ever heard of, like Muddy Waters, Howling Wolf, B.B. King, everyone that you know. And I worked with these dudes for, I think I want to say like 4 or 5 years almost, and during the time, a brother was struggling. But these things, it happened in a certain way, and the payoff is huge. I'm involved in a film that was narrated by one of my favorite comedians of all time, which is Mark Maron. I have artwork in a film that some of the greatest musicians in the world have, dedicated themselves to. I helped create a scene in which some of the greatest legends, Eric Clapton, Mick Jagger, Hubert Sumlin, you had Muddy Waters. No, I'm sorry, Howling Wolf, I'm sorry. And you had them in this London session, and there's never been any real documented footage of this great meeting that happened other than photographs and audio. So I had to do artwork that represented what happened during that whole thing. And doing that alone is something that I contribute to. Is I got artwork being voiced over by Eric Clapton and fucking Howling Wolf. Like, wow, that's crazy. And I didn't understand the impact of what it was when I was doing it. It's not until the film was done and I was able to see it in the big screen at a screening here in New York when the film was finally done, and I didn't even realize. I almost shed a tear just like looking at it like, oh shoot, this is what I did. This is what I contributed to. And this is a story of 3 Black men who have never gotten recognition in this game of the blues. They 57 years in that industry.
Wow.
No proper recognition until they, I think Pine Top Perkins and Big Eyes Willie was still alive. Hubert Sutherland had already passed away. They had finally got a recognition award at the Grammys. And then a year later, they both passed away within 3 months of each other. You know what I'm saying? So like to contribute to the telling of this story of these three brilliant black men who never really got recognized, the payoff is huge to me.
Yeah.
You know, you can't necessarily that has no price tag.
Right.
No, not
and
at
that's
all.
an experience that will keep forever.
You know what I'm saying? So when you come to something like that, if you are, I never tell anybody to do things for free. And I'm not saying I did this for free now, but I'm saying like I'm not gonna tell anybody to do things for free. But you find yourself in a project, and it's not necessarily what you think it is, and it doesn't really meet up to, you know, your financial quote unquote expectations. But if you really feel it, man, there's something wrong with putting yourself in there.
That's right.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's how I feel. You know, but yeah, man. I mean, that was a pretty good experience to do that.
No, that was powerful, man. That's what it's all about. That's really what it's all about. And I got to thank you for coming on the show, man, and rapping with us for a little bit. And
of course,
it was informative and fun.
Yeah. You know, one quick thing. What you think about the Black Panther trailer?
Yeah, it looks great. You know, I think it looks amazing. I will be giving Marvel some of my money to go see it. I'll throw them $20 to go see it.
Yeah, I think everybody's gonna throw them the $20. I really want to see. I don't think white people will just understand how ignorant that opening is going to be.
Oh, they never ready, man. They never ready. Don't get it twisted. They are never ready. Whether it's going to be ignorant or not, there's a gathering of a huge amount of black people somewhere. They ain't never ready.
You know, the funny part is there are people that don't know what cosplay is.
Oh Lord,
they do not know what cosplay is. A bunch of black folk, the majority, that don't know what cosplay is, but they are literally
cosplaying at night.
Yup. It's going down like that. If anything, that's what I like about the whole hype behind Black Panther is the reception of, you know, I'm sorry, my cat's going crazy right now. It's almost time for him to eat. That's why. But the reception of what it got. You have black folks who don't usually pick up comics that are going to see it. You also have the whole aspect of the majority of the cast being black. You have people working in the back, you know, who are designers, cameramen, you know, other people who are black who are fine, who wouldn't necessarily have an opportunity to work on such a big budget film if it wasn't this kind of film. And that I'm grateful for that because they're getting their light, you know, shown right now. And I think that's the excitement for me more so than anything else.
Yeah,
you know, I think it's going to be great.
I do feel that. I feel the same way. Like the lady that's the costume designer,
right,
and she's getting so much press now, and it's just like wow.
As well as she deserves it, as well as she should.
Yeah. So, all right, man, we're gonna let you go and get to feeding your cat, but this show up one more time. Give out all your social medias, just so people weren't paying attention.
Yeah, but like I said before, website's down, but it will be definitely back up in the middle of next week. It's bouncethecomic.com. On all the other social media is facebook.com/bouncestrip. And then you also got on Instagram and Twitter at bounce_comic.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
That's what's up. So DJ Hyjak,
Yes, sir.
what's that social media, sir?
Well, you know how it is. It's everything. Facebook, Instagram, and all of it is at DJ Hyjak, DJ HYJAK. And if you like the musics and the funky beats and all, look for hashtag Hyjak Radio. You might like the playlist I got.
And first off, gotta go to the Big Fan Hero YouTube page. Go like that YouTube. Go like that Big Fan Hero Facebook page as well. Follow
Yes,
us, a Big Fat Hero on Instagram.
That's true.
And then personally, I'm at DKG72, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. The David Gordon 72 fan page, and of course the Kwame Hightower and the Quantum University fan pages are available for you all to go like. So for DJ Hyjak, I am DKG72. Thank you once again, Chuck Collins. You have made our day.
I appreciate it. I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And this is the Big Fat Podcast. So we'll holler at y'all later. Hey.